Stop. Don't scroll. Take 1 second and answer this honestly. Because your answer determines your financial future. What orders are you giving your money right now? Because money is not a quantity problem. It's a command problem, and the truth nobody explains is that your money is supposed to be an army, disciplined soldiers executing exactly the orders you give them every day. But most people give no orders, they react, they spend, they survive without ever leading. And then wonder why their money disappears without building anything. While those who become wealthy deploy their money strategically with intention, like a general sending soldiers on a mission. Listen carefully. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are giving orders to your money, and those orders determine whether you stay in survival or build real wealth. The problem is that there are only 3 main orders, just 3. But 99% of people don't know them, and more importantly, don't know the order to use them. And that order changes everything. The wrong order and your money works against you, it disappears. It keeps you stuck no matter how much you earn. The right order and every dollar becomes a soldier that builds, protects, and multiplies your wealth day after day. That's why some people with little become wealthy, while others with more stay stuck. Because it's never about income, it's about command. Understand this. You will never become wealthy until your money follows a clear strategy, and every strategy starts with precise orders. So ask yourself the real question. What orders are you giving your money, and in what order are you sending your soldiers into the field? Because that alone determines whether you stay broke or take control. Make sure you subscribe and watch the next videos if you want to discover those 3 orders and the exact sequence to turn your money into an army working for you. 3 orders completely govern your financial life. Only 3, yet you execute them every single day without even realizing it. And that is exactly the problem. Because while you think you are simply spending or managing your money, you are in reality programming your future. Money is not neutral. It is not a passive tool. It is a force under your command, a disciplined army that acts precisely according to the instructions you give it. And depending on how you use it, it can either build your wealth or accelerate your loss. The first order is the most destructive. It is where your money disappears with no return, consumed by impulsive, emotional, immediate decisions, choices that deliver short-term pleasure but leave no lasting impact. And in this zone, your money does not work, it dies. The second order is more subtle. It does not destroy, but it does not build either. It is everything that sustains your existence: housing, food, daily functioning. These expenses are necessary, but they only keep you at the same level. They stabilize your life without ever elevating it. And then there is the third order, the one very few people truly activate. The moment where your money stops being a resource and becomes a lever, where every amount you deploy begins to produce, generate, and attract more flows. And your money finally starts working for you instead of against you. These 3 orders are used by everyone, absolutely everyone. But the difference is that most people suffer them instead of controlling them. And that is exactly why they remain stuck. But the real shift does not come from simply understanding these orders. It comes from how you organize them, the priority you assign to each one, and the strategy behind every decision you make. That is where everything changes. Because in the end, it is not your income that defines your trajectory. It is the way you direct your money. If you want to take back control, stop losing without realizing it, and start building something real, make sure you subscribe and do not miss the next video, because that is where you will understand the exact order that changes everything. Listen carefully, because if you don't reverse the order in which you deploy your money, you can work your entire life without ever becoming financially free. And the most dangerous part is that the majority of people follow this exact sequence without ever understanding why it keeps them stuck. Every time money comes in, the dominant reflex is always the same. It feels logical, almost natural, but in reality it is destructive. You start by activating the suicide mission. Without even thinking, you allocate part of your resources to instant gratification. Quick emotional decisions, often influenced by your environment or other people's perception. And in this phase, your money is not used. It is sacrificed. It disappears with no return, no impact, no construction. Only after that do you move into the defensive mission. With what remains, you try to maintain your balance, manage your daily life, absorb your expenses, stabilize your situation. But since a large portion of your resources has already been consumed up front, you operate under constraint, sometimes under pressure. And in many cases, you even compensate with debt just to hold your position. And at that point, everything is already decided. Because the offensive mission, the one that is supposed to create, multiply, and expand, never actually happens. Or worse, it happens with leftovers. And that is exactly why despite effort, despite income, despite time, nothing truly changes. Now pay close attention, because this is the shift that 99% of people will never make. Those who build real financial freedom do not work harder. They simply operate in the opposite sequence. The moment money comes in, they trigger the offensive mission first. They deploy their resources where they can produce, generate, and attract more resources, building systems that start working independently from them. Only then do they reinforce their defensive mission. They secure their daily life on a foundation that has already been strengthened by what they built first, which completely changes their level of stability. And finally, last, they allow the suicide mission, no longer as a reflex, but as a controlled, intentional choice with no impact on their progress. This simple reversal of order changes everything. Because with every inflow, you build before you consume, you expand before you stabilize, and over time your financial system stops being fragile and becomes autonomous. And that is when the dynamic flips. Your money starts working harder than you do. If you want to see this shift in your own life, apply this logic to every single income you receive without exception, and watch what happens over the next few months. Now, tell me in the comments if you recognize yourself in the old pattern. And subscribe if you don't want to miss the next principles that will completely transform the way you think about money.